RLC Youth, man, do I miss you guys. It has been almost a month since we've met together and hung out and laughed and talked about God's Word and spent time with Him and just had fun. And I can only imagine what is going on in your head right now. I've talked to many of you, if not all of you, and believe that God is continuing to do something special in your life, even though there's a lot of difficulty going on right now. But I'm recording this because I want to give you a couple things to be thinking about. First of all, I heard, like all of you, the news yesterday that officially schools are closed for the rest of the school year. And we don't really know what that is going to entail going forward. We're on a timetable of day-by-day basis. We don't know what the next step is and when it's coming. So I can imagine how hard that was to hear, especially for our seniors, to think, man, I'm never going back to school again to take classes like that in high school. My high school days are over. That's pretty bizarre to think and realize. And for the rest of you, I think the excitement that, man, we're out of school and we get to be home is wore off. You're just ready to see your friends again. You're ready to participate in sports once again. You're ready to hang out and have fun, or be able to leave your house and go do something. So I can only imagine how you're feeling, and I can only try to put myself in your shoes. But I do believe that God has something special in store for your life still. And so I wanted to share a couple things today to just lift your hearts. First of all, on social media today, we started announcing our virtual family dinner, which is beginning next Wednesday. It's going to be every Wednesday from here on out until this whole thing's over. And we're going to be meeting at 6 p.m. on Zoom, and we're going to eat dinner together virtually. So bring your dinner, and we're going to hang out and just talk. I might bring a little bit of a thought, ask some questions, and we're just going to get together and spend time once again. And so I encourage you to invite friends if you want. We're going to be sending out the link privately to all of you so you can join us on that. So first of all, here's a couple questions I want you to be thinking about in regards to that Wednesday night next week, April 15th, yes. So those questions are: what have you learned during COVID? What have your thoughts been during COVID? What has been stretched in you? What has challenged you the most during COVID? What's been like the biggest difficulty you've been facing? And then also, what have you taken for granted during all this? What have you taken for granted? I think when we lose something, that's when our true colors shine the most, and we can see and learn things about ourselves. So I'm curious to see where you guys stand and what God's teaching you and what life is allowing you to learn in this time. But with that being said, I also want to give you just a quick thought. So plan for next Wednesday. I'm excited to speak with you all, but I also want to just give you a quick thought. God has really been challenging me in my life, in my dependence on Him, in everyday dependence on Him. In my 1 year reading, because I'm behind, sad to say, but I'm behind like a month. I've been going through Exodus right now, as well as the Gospels. I'm currently in the book of Mark. And just the theme of depending on God is written all over those books. The day-by-day dependence. I mean, Jesus preached it and taught it. His principles led towards it over and over again. The goal was to depend on God every single day. And in the book of Exodus, as the Israelites get freed from slavery and they head out into the wilderness, they're following God on a day-by-day basis. And that's how God created us to live. And so I just want to give you a couple thoughts. This morning I ended up reading over Mark. I was in Mark chapter 8 in the days before. I've read the chapters leading up to, but there was like a really obvious theme God kind of brought to my attention, and something I want to share with you today. And that's in Mark 6 through chapter 8. And so I encourage you to go check out this on your own. I was reading through this, and I want you to read through it as well. But Mark chapter 6, verses 30 through 56, talk about Jesus feeding the 5,000. So we all know that story if we grew up in Sunday school, right? And most of us are aware of it. If not, go read it. But Jesus fed the 5,000. And it's funny because He does this amazing miracle, something that we can't even fathom or explain. And then next thing you know, He puts His disciples on a boat and they start going across the water and across the sea that they were in. And Jesus comes walking on water to them, and they see this insane miracle. He hops in the boat and they go back onto life. And then they get out of the boat on the other side, and all these people come and are begging Jesus, hey, can I touch your cloak? Believing that if they touch it, they'll get healed. And what do you know? They start touching Jesus' cloak, and they are all getting healed. And so the disciples have just witnessed all these insane miracles, all like within a short amount of time. And then we skip Mark chapter 7. That's some other amazing things. But we skip Mark chapter 7, and we pick up in Mark chapter 8, verse 1. And we see that Jesus does the same type of miracle for a different group of people in a different scenario, and he feeds 4,000 out of nothing. He feeds 4,000 people out of a few loaves and a few fish. And he does this insane miracle. Next thing you know, the Pharisees come up and they confront Jesus, and Jesus kind of rebuttals, and then the disciples and Jesus move on with their life, and I believe they're in a boat. Yeah, they hop in a boat and they're going somewhere. And it's funny because the disciples start freaking out. They go, oh, we don't have enough bread for this journey. We're going to go hungry maybe. We didn't prepare enough for this. And Jesus looks at them and he says, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes but fail to see? Do you have ears but fail to hear? Don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? And how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? And then he said, and when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? He said, do you still not understand? And it's funny to me because these disciples have just witnessed some of the most insane miracles in a short amount of time. They've seen Jesus feed 5,000, feed 4,000. He's healed all these people. He's walked on water. And then they head out on a journey with Jesus right after this, and they start freaking out about their provision. They go, we don't have enough bread. We're not going to be able to survive. We didn't prepare enough. We're not ready for this. And I feel like God was just, again, he's been pointing this out to me over and over and over again. He didn't create us to be prepared for a long amount of time. He created us to depend on him day by day. He has the power. He has the strength. He has the provision. He has what we need to day in and day out depend. And so I want to encourage you. God knew this was going to happen. When we started celebrating 2020 4 months ago, God knew that COVID was going to hit the world by storm. And so when you start encountering things like, man, school's dismissed now, and seniors, like, you're never going back to walk into a high school again to go take classes like that, man, you don't have to worry about it. God already knew. He already prepared you for it. He's written this in your story. He believes in you, and he has a plan for you. And so as much anxiety as that may cause of, man, how am I going to get my diploma? How am I going to move on and go to college next year? What's going to happen? Am I going to get a walk for graduation? What are we going to do? As you worry about all those things, stop worrying. Start trusting Jesus. And just like the disciples had to recognize that God was the provision for them, we have to recognize the same thing. And so I just want to pray over you real quick. Hopefully that made sense. I believe that God is so powerful, and he has such a special plan for your life, and that he cares about you deeply. And so I just want to pray for you today. And please reach out if you have any specific prayer requests or you just want to talk. I sure love each of you. And again, next Wednesday we're starting virtual family dinner, so bring some dinner, be ready to answer some of those questions, and be ready to just hang out and have fun for a good amount of time. But we're going to keep doing that, so just continue to put that on your calendar in the midst of all of your new scheduling with classes and so forth. Plan for 6 p.m. on Wednesdays starting next week. Anyway, God, I thank you so much for these students. God, I thank you for the story you've written already for their life. God, I pray that you would just bless them immensely today. God, I pray that in the middle of all of this difficulty, God, and struggle, God, and unknown, God, I pray that they would learn a stronger resilience, God, a stronger dependency on you, God. It wouldn't make their faith waver, God. It would actually make their faith more firm and solidified, because they're learning to depend on you in a way that they didn't imagine that they would. God, I just thank you again for being so gracious, God, and being so merciful, God, and I trust with my entire heart, God, that you have this planned out. So we don't worry about tomorrow, God, we don't even worry about today. We just trust and take a step of faith every moment of every day. Anyway, I love you guys. Have an amazing week. Again, join us for Good Friday service tomorrow. Join us for Easter service Sunday. And then next Wednesday, we're going to be hanging out once again. I love you all.